I'm Renee Noor, model, creative director, founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors, Wellness Hub, and GW3 Magazine. I dedicated my life and devoted my career into helping women and girls to achieving their goals. I've been passionate about empowering women and enriching men. This opportunity in working with the Global Women Wealth Warriors have afforded me the pleasure of traveling outside of the country to be a support unit, most importantly, to help impact and change lives. Our ultimate purpose is to help others to become whole from finance, spiritual, mental, as well as physical. We know there are challenges and obstacles to get you to the next level. However, it's time for you to level up, boss up, and welcome to Power to Soar. And welcome, 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 beautiful family. I think we got a little bit of feedback. Hold on. We are live right now. Not only live on YouTube, we're also live right there in the clubhouse. And I think we should only have one mic open. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close my mic. And if you guys can still hear me in the clubhouse, go ahead on and flash your mics. If you can still hear my voice, everybody can flash your mics. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, it is today. It's Winning Wednesday. Okay, I hear that fat. Okay. Keep your mic open, Janet. I'm going to keep my mic closed and see if that works. I think you may have two devices on over there as well. Okay. All right. Okay, well, what's going to okay, let's go ahead and close yours. I'm going to open up mine. Can you guys hear me okay in the clubhouse? If you guys can hear me in the clubhouse, go ahead on and flash your mics, please. Flash your mics. Awesome, awesome. We don't have any feedback or anything like that. So I'm Renee Noor. I'm the founder of the Global Women Wealth Warriors, and I'm so excited to be here today for this Winning Wednesday. You know how much we love our Winning Wednesday. It's our Chanel Winning Wednesdays. That's right. All the ladies get together, and we have an amazing opportunity to come together. But one of the greatest things we're going to be doing this weekend with the Power to Soar Leadership Conference, we truly are looking forward to welcoming those beautiful souls from all across the world that will be live with us. So when we say the Power to Soar Leadership Conference, guys, I'm excited because it's been 5 years. That's right, 5 years. And here we are. I put in a chat with the group earlier, one day away before the festivities begin. And God has truly blessed us. But not only has he blessed us, if you feel as if you know for sure God is moving in your life, somebody need to put some hearts in the chat for us right there in the clubhouse, as well as put some hearts on YouTube, as well as Facebook, guys. We know for sure. We are so grateful. And every day we think about the gratitude in our lives and how it has moved us to be where we are today. Today is a special day, guys. Not only do I have my super amazing sister, Miss Janet Alvarado, with me, bring her beautiful self up, but also we have an incredible special guest. Hi, Miss Janet Alvarado. How are you doing today, beauty?
It's amazing.
So what, if you keep your microphone, because every time you open up your microphone, it's a feedback, Janet, we can hear you over here, just unmute. Okay, unmute here on the club right here. So go not on the clubhouse, but right on the device here, because you're muted right now.
Really?
No, you're not. There we go. We can hear her. Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you crystal clear, beauty. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. This is Janet Alvarado from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm excited for this weekend and just preparing for this show.
Oh my goodness.
Zeller.
Oh, I'm so excited as well, Janet. And thanks for for joining us here. Not only we're going to bring somebody that's truly have been, I would call him very transformational. We both share the stage with the Breakfast with Champions as moderators. He's more of a, I look up to Michael. I look up to Mike for so many ways and so many reasons why. Not only has his story been very impactful in all of our lives, but you know what I love about him most importantly, Janet? He keeps pressing forward and he understands everything can change and everything can have a different outcome if you focus on that genius from within. So, without further ado, not only the author, the husband, the amazing man that brings so much great energy and calmness, I would say that too, to the Breakfast with Champions, Mr. Mike Zeller. What's
Thank.
up, Mike? Woo!
What's up, ladies? Excited to be here.
Yes, we're so excited to have you as well. How are you doing today over there in Nashville?
It's a beautiful day. I cannot complain. I think the world is full of opportunity. Yes, it's full of challenges, but it's the opportunities are often a gift in disguise. And I think of whatever you're going through in life. One of my favorite metaphors is Boeing 737 weighs 485 tons. How does it get into the night sky? It gets in the night sky by facing resistance, by facing an obstacle. And that resistance is the wind, and that wind causes it to lift off in the sky. And so, I think these are crazy times. We've lived in an unusual season of life,
Yeah.
and we're here. We're alive.
I know, right. You're absolutely correct. It's like we gotta laugh about certain things because we know with humor things kind of like help us to live a healthier life, one of the greatest things. But also we have to think about, you know what? God have us here, Mike, for a reason, right? And
Mhm.
because we know our lives are not, we're not taking them for granted, we're going to make sure we press forward. And let me say this, you were pressing forward last weekend with your buddies. Oh my goodness, you guys were having so much fun last weekend. You needed
Yeah,
that,
we
right?
Yeah, I needed that. It was my first trip in a couple years with some of my closest friends and longest friends, and we hiked up a big mountain, Mount Rainier in Seattle, and did some other fun things, and it was an amazing trip. Restorative. We need those. I heard you talking earlier about we need time to rest and rejuvenate, and that was one of those trips for me. So it was beautiful.
Well, you look like you were having a lot of great fun, and we call those, right, Jen? We call those self-care days. Because we got to have that self-love as well. We work really, really hard, but I love when we could play even harder, and that's what I was noticing with you all over this past weekend, and it looked great on you. And it's just about also finding that harmony in our lives to really find that balance. But you know what I love? This book right here, The
Oh,
Genius
thank you.
Within. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you about this book, Mike. Oh my goodness. Oh, where we go? Where did Mike go? Hello, bring us up. Okay, Mike, this book here, not only did I take this book, thank you again for being one of our sponsors for the Africa trip where we went to Tanzania, Zanzibar, Tanzania. Guys, not only was Michael a
That's
huge part
awesome.
in helping to transform the ladies' lives. The greatest part about it, when I gave some of the ladies their books, they started reading immediately. And oh my goodness, Rahan over there in South Africa, I've sent you a picture with her holding your book. She's like, Renee, you don't know how much I needed this. You really share some important moments in your life, in your journey. You have so much courage. When I read this book, not only do you talk about your family, you talk about your wife and some of the things that you're going through, but also you talk about the fact of the matter that you also went to this moment of a season where you had wealth and then you lost millions. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow. So talk to us, share with us, the whole reason and the premise of coming up with this amazing book. Please share with us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got it. Well, as I've mentored hundreds of leaders and entrepreneurs from around the world, one of the things that kept coming up is I couldn't give everyone the same cookie cutter formula because we're different. We have different talents, we have different strengths, we have different weaknesses, we have different traumas, we have different stories, we have unique life experiences. And it really came up in four main areas: different strengths and weaknesses, different life experiences, different relationship networks, and the fourth, different values and passions. And so within that, like there's a zone where everything overlaps and everything finds almost its perfect synergy, and that's your zone of genius. And I realized as well, I've started 20 plus businesses now. I've traveled to 35 countries or so, and I've realized um, in my own ventures, there was things that I was really freaking amazing at, and there was things that I sucked like crazy at. I would use a French word for that, but I sucked like I was horrible at. And I stayed like, even if I went from horrible and really worked on my weaknesses, maybe I went to a little less horrible or maybe mediocre. Well, that's still not going to make a difference. You got to be great and figure out where you're freaking great. Like if you look at sports teams, you look at organizations, people that accomplish extraordinary things, they typically find themselves in extraordinarily right positions. So how do we reverse engineer what's my extraordinarily right position? Well, no one had created a process that I thought was anywhere close to complete for bringing in all the different informational or value factors that will shape that. And I I realized, hey, there's some phenomenal tests. I don't need to recreate personality tests. I can take in some of the best personality tests. I can take in defining life moments, those moments where your soul whispers. I can take in, hey, who brings you life versus who brings you death? Like, who do you already have a natural relationship pool or network that you just love being around? And then what are your values? What are your passions? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? What do you have insatiable curiosity for? Well, that curiosity is also typically a sign. It's a whisper. Hey, now if we could pay attention to the whispers of our soul, we step into our deepest purpose and our deepest impact and our deepest pathway to creating wealth. So that's the painful season of losing a couple $1 million and going through that basically has birthed me into the lessons. The lessons were worth more than a couple $1 million. Lessons are worth tens of millions of dollars, but also a chance to more deeply impact. I'm 43. I'm going to be, I got another 40 years of this game at least. You know, my inspirational figure, one of them is Peter Drucker. He was still doing this, writing books and mentoring until he was 98. So I'm going to keep going. I don't know about you. I want to impact. I'm sure you're the same way. You ladies are amazing. So you're going to, until your last breath, you want to make an impact.
Oh, Mike, listening to you, you're an old soul, Mike, and that's something that I take away. And I'm sure I'm not the first person that told you this. Here you are sounding as if you're like 60 and you're telling us you're 42. I don't believe that at all. When I was reading the book, especially, I gather what page 32, you talk about really not only, like you said, the values and also the passions. I got my book all lit up with yellow highlights and everything like that, guys. All right. But you also talk about the importance of the clarity. The importance of the clarity. And I think what has happened, that's a trigger point for a lot of adults. Because one of the things that you said, a lot of people say things, but they say it vaguely. And by them saying it vaguely, they don't really hold themselves truly accountable. It's like, oh, let's just see if this is going to stick on the wall. And they just throw things on the wall, right? But then how do they even follow up? How do they even stay committed to themselves? So talk about that, because I really like how you went into that segment in your book.
Yeah. So, clarity, I like to say clarity precedes momentum. If so many times, if we are lack clarity, what we do is it's like we're spinning around in a circle in the sand, not making any decision, not moving forward any which way because we're unsure. And physiologically, our body does not need clarity, need guidance to breathe, right? Because it already has clarity. It's already hardwired into our body. It's like we don't have to think about it. Otherwise, all of us would be dead, right? But if you don't have clarity, and lots of times people in transitions are messy. And one of my goals in working with a lot of high powered leaders and CEOs, business owners, etc., or women, men, ready for the next season of their life and they're stuck is as long as they stay stuck, and they can be stuck for 10, 20 years or a lifetime. But if I can compress that stuck season into a day or a week or a month and move them past that in a, a, a fraction of the time, that's one of my goals. Then what happens now is if I have clarity, I can move forward. It's 5 C's. If I have clarity, I can move forward with greater confidence. When I move forward with greater confidence, my courage also rises up. I kind of start sitting straighter in my seat. I start speaking with more conviction, which is the next one. If I have greater conviction, then my commitment level also rises. When I'm really deeply convicted about something, you think of a Martin Luther King Jr., you think of a Muhammad Ali, you think of a Tom Brady. They're committed because they're convicted that they can do it. They can make the difference, right? You're not convicted that you're going to make a difference, then when times get tough, when the waves of life blow and knock you over, you might not get up. You might just say, "Oh, I'm not meant to do this." So but it all starts, the first domino to fall is the clarity. So how can I help people find clarity? And I think the clues are there. And my goal with the book and with when I mentor people or my course is like, how can I help people get the greatest amount of clues they've ever had about their genius, about their deepest area of gifting, about where they're amazing, about where they're not so amazing, and get it all on one table so that patterns pop like popcorn. And I think it's there for us all, but we got to do the intentional work. And it's actually really fun. Self-discovery, we all find, whether we admit it or not, find ourselves oftentimes to be the most interesting people. Like the whole how to win friends and influence people is like, be interested in another person, because then they get to talk about themselves. Right? And then they think you have great charisma just because you asked them a bunch of questions. And we are interesting. All of us, there's beautiful mystery in all of us. But some of us, we've neglected that. And that I've seen also in marriages. If you unpack your different areas of gifting and your stories, now you're rediscovering one another. So that's actually been a fun process too.
Wow. I love what you shared there, because everyone, like you said, everyone going through something, everyone has a journey. But when you really pay attention to your why, your purpose, but also who you are, it kind of like really help you to identify not only fueling your purpose with your passion, but also being really specific with what it is that you're doing to really give you more results. Because I love to say it's not about everything else, but it's really about results driven. And I feel as if you have truly been there. And now you're talking about, partners, family members. I know you have a really soft area in that space. I call it a soft spot with you and your wife, and I know this has been a little bit of a journey for you, but it's wonderful to see that you consistently keep showing up for the family. I know Janet, she does a wonderful segment, Mike, with us on Fridays, and we're all about restoring those families, but she really focused on how the importance, Family Talk Fridays, of how we can restore and build healthier relationships. And I know that's something that you're very proactive in as well.
Yeah, I need to learn more about that. I like that Family Talk Fridays. That's a good idea.
Well, we need to join Janet. You need to invite him on Friday. We can't hear you, Janet.
Michael, I would love it if you'd be one of our guests on Family Talk Friday. It's all about family empowerment. We want to empower families. When we empower families, our communities are empowered. And our communities are empowered, it's just a domino effect,
Oh, yeah. That'd be amazing.
And, I don't know. Now, Renee was talking about your wife, but I know you're also a father, correct?
Yeah, I have a little 13-month-old Sonnet, and she's adorable, and she's walking this week, taking 5 or 6 steps at a time, and it's been amazing. I didn't think I would like the baby stage nearly as much as I have, and I knew I would love the toddler stage, but baby stage has actually been a blast. So it's pretty awesome.
Babies are a blessing for sure, and congratulations on your arrival. And walking, my grandson is also walking, and just watching him waddle and learn and fall and get back up just reminds me of the resistance that we all have and the ability to get back up and never quit. And I wanted to talk to you about, I know you're the master of NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and I'm actually learning a little bit about that and trying to overcome the obstacles that I subconsciously carry that I wasn't aware that I was carrying. Would you like to talk a little bit more about that and how that works?
Yeah, so let me give an example. As human beings, like we store trauma, we store stories, we store beliefs in a way that most of the animal kingdom doesn't. And my wife's battle with depression, she's a 3-time suicide survivor, and it was all triggered because of pregnancy, which brought her back to her traumatic childhood. And every time she heard our baby cry, it would trigger panic and trigger her back into being like 8 years old and having a crying baby in her arm, making dinner for the other 3 kids. And like her childhood was pretty insane, pretty narcissistic, abusive, uh, mom and stepdad. And so all this is happening. I had never really dealt or been in proximity to firsthand depression, and I was like, oh, it's just mindset, it's just this or that. Well, us as human beings, we're really complex, and the animal kingdom is complex too. But like, you go through a trauma. For example, Duke University is actually doing an in-depth study or multiple in-depth studies on intergenerational trauma, which means, for example, the Holocaust survivors. What they found is that the next 2 generations, people that weren't even alive during the Holocaust, showed on their biometric data that they had been through a massive trauma in their life. So the next 2 generations of Holocaust survivors. So this trauma and limiting beliefs, stories, there's intergenerational elements of ancestry, all those things. There's a lot of complexity to this that we don't understand fully, but we're getting glimpses of right now. And another example is animal kingdom. Basically, you think of a wildebeest, and that my dad didn't let us get MTV and cable when we were kids, but we had to watch these nature shows. That was the most exciting thing that we got to watch at 7 o'clock at night for a while. And you see this like zebra or wildebeest get caught by some lions, and then they drag it back, but it was still alive, and then somehow escapes and runs off. 2 minutes later, it's eating grass. Like, you were just in the jaws of a lion. How are you eating grass right now? Well, how they were doing that is they had animals have a more natural process of shaking off traumas or stories or those type things. Yes, there's going to be a memory stored to avoid lions, avoid this or whatever, but it can shake it off easier. Us, we can internalize and relive the trauma for 40, 50, 60 years, a lifetime, right? So how do we release it? One of the things with my wife is it's really a multiple step. It's not a silver bullet, single solution. It's usually more like a perfect recipe. And it varies a little bit by individuals. You got to solve the chemical challenge. There's literally a brain. If you look at Oprah's book, What Happened to You, according to PTSD research, when a brain goes through trauma, it changes. And significant trauma, it changes significantly. And now we're finding with my wife, you can actually using some chemicals like NAD+, which our body naturally makes. It's like stem cells. You can actually heal the brain. A brain that is in addiction, you don't just have to abstain from alcohol. You can actually fully heal the brain. Now, and reduce the cravings, eliminate the cravings, all those things, because lots of times people go through traumas, etc. They get medicated, they just get numb. I couldn't bear the thought of my wife living another 70, 60, 70 years or 50 years, whatever, being numbed. That's not a good life for us all. She's brilliant, she's amazing. I couldn't do that, right? And so now with NAD plus, ketamine, a lot of other things out there, you can heal the chemical side while healing relational patterns in the stories. So NLP, I kind of gave a long-winded answer, but NLP, part of it is also rewriting the story and creating a more empowering story. Like Renee, you were talking about earlier, when I lost a couple $1 million, man, I have this alter ego I call him Weak Ass Willie. Weak Ass Willie got me in trouble. He wants to tuck his tail in shame. But Magic Mike is committed to his mission of creating magic in other people's lives. And Magic Mike, I literally still do it every day, just about. I have a voice recording for 2 minutes and 22 seconds where I declare I am Magic Mike and I create magic in people's lives and in my own life. And Magic Mike led me out of that super dark place and super difficult season into this next evolution. I'm still in the early stages of building back up and being in a whole different season of life. So figuring out, what I would say for Janet is like, who's your alter ego? The mind has a ability to tap in, and then if you need on the chemical or the health side, sometimes you go through something that is really hard. It's still stored in you unless it's released. We got to work on releasing it, and part of the release is also thanking that part of ourselves. Like when I thank Weak Ass Willie for trying to protect me from not making those same stupid mistakes, right? Or same high risk decisions. And now Magic Mike, I think you now lead my life. Weak Ass Willie, go to the back of the bus. You're not driving anymore. So anyway, that's a quick summary, but I can usually rewire someone in about 90 minutes on the psychological side.
Wow, 90 minutes. That's fast.
It is fast.
And I'm just learning about the generational traumas. I wasn't aware that we hold on to those things. And this is all new for me. I've been learning all this for the last 2 years, and the importance of clarity and who we are. And I'm transitioning myself into a new version of me after becoming a domestic engineer, raising my children, cleaning house, stuff like that. And now I'm trying to start a business. No, not trying.
That's right.
Starting
Eliminate the weak ass. Yeah. That's a weak ass word. Trying and hope to and want to.
Yeah, I am. You're right. I am. And I wanted to ask you, now I know you're an NFL fan. What is your top 2 teams that you like?
Right now, it would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Tom Brady, and I'm going to go see him live this year. That's one of my goals because he's going to retire at some point, probably this year, And I miss seeing Michael Jordan. I miss seeing Michael Jackson live, even though I could have if I really. And I'm like, oh. So yeah, Tom. That's my number one. I would say after that, I like the Rams right now as well as the Cowboys. But I love the game of, sports are in a way a metaphor for life, and so I that's what attracts me about the NBA or NFL. Those type of things.
Have you met our Tyrone Poole?
I was about to say the same thing about Tyrone.
Just on Clubhouse, but not in person. Yeah, he's great.
Everything he does, when you mentioned that metaphor, everything he uses, he always analyzes it because sports is a huge part of not only his life, but it's about real life as well. And how he kind of like get in the zone, of course. And, when you mentioned that, I just like, that was the first name, Janet. Get out of my head, Janet.
He's amazing.
Yes. Well, I want to ask this question, Mike. What are some of the things, of course, you have this schedule that's just like nonstop, right? And we want to say, first and foremost, we're thankful that you are here, guys. If you haven't already received this book here, it is called Upside Down, The Genius Within. That's right, The Genius Within. Please go to Amazon. Let's not only order this book. This is going to be one of our books that we're going to include in our book club as well, guys. We're happy that, of course, Mike is one of our 100 most influential men for the GW3 fam. And I know, unfortunately, he won't be able to be with us for the power to soar, but you're here with us right now, and we're going to soar about that. And not only that, but we're going to continue on, paying it forward with the information that you have provided to us. I'm learning so much from you, Mike. This is a whole different Mike. We listen, but now we're listening with our eyes and our ears. So now we got all of our antennas, right? And I told you that emotional connection as well. You talked about the 4 keys. Being able to uncover, that being from within. Right? Also, you talk about some of these common, just those common mistakes that we have, and we do because of that brain want to keep on visiting what is so comfortable. What is so comfortable, that's what the brain's going to always resort back to. So share with us, Mike, the importance of just really, the repetition of doing steps and activities to keep you moving past your madness, so therefore you can find the magic. Mike.
Great question, Renee, and I love the breakdown there. So I think of it as 3 zones. You've got the comfort zone, the discomfort zone, and the paralysis zone. And you want to be in the discomfort zone according to flow research. Like, how do you get in this flow state of psychological, where you're in this almost nirvana, locked in, you're in the zone, as they call it in sports, right? Where you're lights out, you're unstoppable. Well, we can do that as an entrepreneur, as a parent, as a lover, as a whatever. Well, the flow state, where your mind is most engaged and your spirit is most engaged, obviously you need a healthy baseline of the 4 different energy quadrants: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. But the flow state, where you're 500% more productive, by the way, 500% more productive. Repeat that again. It's crazy. All right. So you can get into that flow state by one of the prerequisites is it has to be 10 or 15% more, or at 10 or 15% outside of your comfort zone. So we can reverse engineer our flow state. Also, you're twice as likely to step in flow state when you're operating from your strengths. That's why it's so important to have this self-awareness, or know where you're a genius and where you're not so much a genius, right? Socrates said, to know thyself is the beginning of all wisdom. That's a really good nugget from that guy. All right. So if I can reverse engineer my flow state, I'm going to be 500% more productive. I'm more likely to be in the zone, and I'm able to accomplish more, experience more, have more fun doing it, whatever it is. But it's living in that discomfort zone. Because if I continually make it my rule of life to live in discomfort zone, then eventually my comfort zone just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Because what scared me a year ago doesn't scare me today. Like, I was on a TV show, in studio, local TV show here in Nashville, for my book, an NBC affiliate. I walked in, it was easy. I'm interviewing with you. It's easy. I didn't even have any spirit, any moment of nervousness, because it's comfortable for me. 5 years ago, that would have been in my discomfort zone. Now I've done 150 podcast interviews, 13 TV shows, 40 radio show interviews. It's easy. So you just keep moving in that discomfort zone, and eventually what is scary to you today becomes what's comfortable to you tomorrow.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I know one of the things, our topic today was specifically Winning Wednesday, win in from the genius within. Not only we're winning from within, it's all about Wealth Wednesday as well. So what you're sharing with me, Mike, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. The reason why most of us are not where we should be in life from a wealth perspective is because of what we're holding on within.
Yeah, and that's a piece of it. And then we also, building wealth isn't, it's easy, but it's also not easy. It's like finding that right position. There are practical wisdom strategies, like, am I buying appreciating assets? Am I leveraging my talents so that I'm not doing $20 an hour work, but I'm doing $100 or $1,000 an hour work, or $10,000 an hour work, right? But when you take, for example, the wealth dynamics test, which is my favorite personality test, it actually shows you pieces of your natural pathway for building wealth. But for winning Wednesday, I mean, if you're going to win at life, you got to put yourself in the right position to win. And you got to know what that right position is. That's where the preparation work comes into knowing, back to Socrates, and to know thyself is the beginning of all wisdom. King David said, it's better to have self-control than to conquer a city, right? Better to have self-control than to conquer a city. What was that guy smoking? Something good, apparently. Like, we're supposed to have self-control, and part of that self-control is like pinpointing. Renee's a freaking badass at this. Let's get her locked in at this. Janet is amazing at this. She sucks at this, so let's manage that. Keep her out of that. You know, Mike's killer over here, but he blows over there. Let's keep him out of that. And then you build a team. You know, there's a reason why great things rarely are accomplished alone as well. You need because none of us is as great as all of us. So the other cool thing, and I work with a lot of leadership teams, is you start figuring out how you complement each other and who's often missing. Who else needs a seat at the table? That's going to make the team a lot stronger. So
I love it. Absolutely love it. I know Janet is like, ooh, she's oozing. We have everybody in the clubhouse. I want to hear from Professor Chris. Professor Chris, you here. Would you like to pour into this conversation? I know for sure Mike is going to be having to wrap up, so I want to make sure we have an opportunity to pour back into those right there in the clubhouse. Professor, are you there with us? Okay, if you guys have been enjoying the conversation, go ahead and flash your mics. He may have stepped away from it. All right, Miss V, alongside with Dr. Jeannie and Dr. Sheila. Wonderful. So, Miss V, go ahead and pour into the conversation, or pour into Mike while we have the opportunity. We have less than 3 minutes before we be wrapping up today's segment. Go ahead, Miss V.
Thank you, Queen Renee. Mr. Mike Zeller, I just wanted to find out, I heard you mention a wealth dynamics test. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the test I would recommend for the personality profile. Yep. And then I'll give the I've got a guide that you can grab that also has the links to that test too. But yeah, and you can message me on Instagram and I'll send you the link.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. V. Thank you for being here. Dr. Jeannie, who will be with us for the Power to Soar. Dr. Jeannie, as well as Dr. Sheila, would you guys like to pour into the conversation and ask a question to the man himself, Mike Zeller, while we have him, please? Dr. Sheila, take it away.
Thank you, Renee. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you crystal clear.
Awesome. This has been such an amazing conversation. You know, tap into our zone of genius, you know, and I heard you say he was 42 years old, and I'm 54, and I think it's taken me all these years to tap into my zone of genius, and it's okay. But I've just enjoyed this conversation. Look forward to reading the book and tapping into more information what he has to share, and let us all just realize that we all have a zone of genius. We all have something that we're amazing at. So just thank you for this conversation today. I'm Dr. Sheila, and I'm complete for now.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Sheila. And Dr. Jeannie, are you there, Dr. Jeannie? And you know what is so cool too, Mike? Dr. Sheila is also one of our featured authors we're going to be doing the debut with, right alongside with. We still have your fabulous book as well. I think Dr. Jeannie, she went back down. I don't know if she can come up. But one of the moderators, please, if anyone else want to point to Mike before we wrap up this amazing segment, guys. Okay, I hear somebody. Okay, go ahead. There we go, Doc. There we go, the professor. Take it away.
Thank you very much for this informative and empowering session. I wanted to find out from you, what is the number one problem that stops people from really going for it? Going and developing their talent. What is the number one obstacle?
I think it could be a combination of fear of judgment of others, fear of success or failure, limiting stories, and it can also be an energetic trauma. Like we were talking about how traumas get stored in our body. And so I want to hit all of the potential challenges. I don't know if there's necessarily a number one, but those would be the largest contributing factors. I would say fear, judgment, shame, etc., limiting stories, limiting beliefs, and potentially unsupportive life patterns and people in your world. So great question though.
Thank you, Professor Chris. Thank you so very much. Do we have time for one more question? And then we're going to be wrapping up with words of wisdom from Mike. And what we want to do, Mike, you know, we are readers in this club. GW3, we are total readers. We're right now reading the book Law of Attraction by the man himself, Mr. Michael Lossier. And once we finish reading that book, guys, I think we need to jump into this one. What do you think, Janet? Oh, yes. You know what I love about it too, because it has different steps that we can do, sort of like what we're doing with Michael's book, break it down with a guide. So we would love to invite you back as well, Mike, to go over that with us. All these Mikes and Michael. Do you know how many Michaels I have in my phone? I have over 30 Michaels in my phone and 3 Mikes. So the Mike's got it, okay?
You're going to have to put them under Magic Mike now.
I know, I have to put him underneath Magic Mike, right? I know. Yeah.
Speaking of, sorry, Renee, really quickly. Speaking of Mike, Magic Mike, I did send you a message on Instagram about the personality test. I would love to get that. And also, really quickly, I would like to know when, and maybe it's too soon, but when is your new book coming out?
That will be sometime next year. I still have to go through the editing. The book's actually written, Twice Born: How a Crisis Can Remake You. And then, Genius Within is out right now, of course. But I do have a God and Money journal that is coming out with ChristianPlanner.com. And it's 33 days to rewrite your story from a spiritual perspective around money and wealth. And because I love guiding people. I help people build their own like wealth journals with this is my wealth journal. You can kind of see it, but creating their wealth pillars, their philosophy, their pathways, their relationships. And because I'm doing that myself right now in this next phase. And I've studied, I've read about 95 books on wealth mindset and wealth strategies. Just as I went through that season, I was like, I got to remake myself. And that was one of the 4 things that I had to remake as well. So yeah, but hopefully early next year, but Christian Planner will have the God and Money journal out next week, actually.
Well, we'll look so forward to receiving that, right, guys? Absolutely, we'll look so forward to receiving that. Mike, it's been an honor as well as a privilege to have you here for this Winning Wednesday. And we've been able to learn so much from you, but at the same token, we have more work to do with ourselves. And we're looking forward to definitely reading your book with the group and also doing that 31 day. I love that. I'm always about a new challenge. So that truly will be our next new challenge once we finish up with the Power of the Soul Leadership Conference. And I want to say again, we are so honored to have you as one of our 100 most influential men. You truly have set fire. That's right, set fire to our brains. And we're so grateful because we got work to do. All right. We got to find more magic. So Mike, take away words of wisdom. We're loving you.
Well, you rock. And thank you, Renee and Janet. You guys are amazing. And you guys are going to have an epic event this weekend. And dude, I wish I was there. So taken away, I would say the takeaways is, in life is a product of our daily decisions. And our daily decisions are also a product of who we're wired to be. And if we go with the flow instead of resisting reality, like I'm meant to build wealth in a different pathway than Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is like slow and steady who wins the race. I'm meant to be more like a Steve Jobs or Richard Branson, where you take a bunch of risk. Some of them are going to pan out really big. Some of them are going to flop, and that's okay. But I understand that self-awareness, so I can make smarter decisions and do it in alignment. Our bodies are our guide in a lot of ways. If we tap into body intelligence, kinesiology, and the self-awareness, I think everything in life, you have the gifts within you to accomplish and to become whoever you're meant to be. In fact, those desires that are your desires, not desires out of ego, but desires out of impact and alignment. Desire means the sire is the breakdown, right? Of the Father. You were given those desires for a reason. Honor them, steward them, use them, and know that if you have that desire, there's a reason it's there. So step towards it courageously, living in your discomfort zone with wisdom, and see what type of magic you can create in the world. And look for ways to use your gifts to solve big problems that people face. And you'll do really, really well over time.
Absolutely love it. Oh my goodness, what a way to end this segment today. You know, like I said, I'm going to go rework my plan, my strategy, and I look forward to really redefining I think I got another genius in me that's waiting to be discovered as well, Mike.
Sounds good. Amazing.
Yes. Well, guys, there you have it. The man himself, Mr. Mike Zeller. Thank you so very much for all of your gifts, as well as all of your wisdom. And most importantly, thank you for being the man behind the great, the genius within. Thank you for not only being the man behind the genius within, but also allowing us to be a part of your day today. So guys, we are looking forward to the Power to Soar Leadership Conference. And oh my goodness, guys, make sure you get your books also, because that's going to be our new book for next month. That's right. September. This is going to be the book club read for next month. But guys, we've enjoyed you for today's Winning Wednesday. Thank you, Janet Alvarado. I'm Renee Noor, and we look forward to seeing you guys on tomorrow, but most importantly, in Atlanta for the Power to Soar Leadership Conference. Thank you again, and bye for now. I'm Renee Noor, model, creative director, founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors, Wellness Hub, and GW3 Magazine. I dedicated my life and devoted my career into helping women and girls to achieving their goals. I've been passionate about empowering women and enriching men. This opportunity in working with the Global Women Wealth Warriors have afforded me the pleasure of traveling outside of the country to be a support unit, most importantly, to help impact and change lives. Our ultimate purpose is to help others to become whole from finance, spiritual, mental, as well as physical. We know there are challenges and obstacles to get you to the next level. However, it's time for you to level up, boss up, and welcome to Power to Soar.